Happy Monday, and welcome back to another wonderful day of Fleet Fatale, an online speedrunning event organized by Games Done Quick's all speedrunning community, Frame Fatale, which is happening all week. So we have the event going on between 4 p.m. and midnight every day this week. It's been wonderful so far. We've already raised over $8,000 for Malala Fund. So before we get into that, just keep in mind we have some amazing runs today, like Dark Souls, Tomb Raider 3, A Bug's Life, Death Squared, Run Saber, Hades, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and our next potential bonus game, or our first potential bonus game. It is our first potential bonus game. Now, before we get into the runs today, I am joined by Bhumika Regmi, who is the digital manager with Malala Fund. How are you doing today, Bhumika?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Of course. So I wanted to, first of all, remind anybody, especially if there's anyone new today, on what Malala Fund is and what it's all about and how it got started. Can you tell us some about that?
Yeah, definitely. Malala Fund is an organization working towards ensuring that all girls around the world have access to education and that all girls have the opportunity to learn and to lead. So that's what we're all about. And in doing that, we support education champions and advocates in various countries who are doing that work already. So we're trying to help and support local advocates who are already doing the work to support girls in their countries and in their communities. So right now we work in many countries. They are Pakistan, India, Lebanon, Turkey, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Brazil. So we have many advocates that we work with there in supporting their work and funding their work. So yeah, that's what we're all about.
That's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit, for those who may not know as much about Malala, can you kind of explain her history and how what her experiences have led to, women in education?
Yeah, definitely. So Malala Yousafzai is an advocate for education. She comes from Pakistan. Her story started with her advocating for girls' education in Swat Valley in Pakistan when the Taliban had taken over and they had banned girls from going to school. And so she and her father spoke out against that. And then, she faced some repercussions because of that. She was shot for speaking out and she had to be taken out of Pakistan and flown into the UK to recover. And she did recover. And it was a story that really touched many people's hearts around the world. And that's sort of where her advocacy on a global front started. And then she founded Malala Fund, our organization, to continue doing her work with advocacy and really supporting other local advocates like her and her father who were advocating in Pakistan, in various other countries, and really push that movement for girls' education forward.
Yeah, so when it comes to education, then I know that there's quite an impressive number, an unfortunately impressive number of women who are not currently being educated. Can you tell us about that and how that's kind of impacting the world at the moment, as well as the impacts of COVID?
Yeah, so there are 130 million girls who are out of school, which is a large number of girls out of school around the world. And, there are many reasons for that. A lot of times it's not enough education financing in each of the countries. Like governments aren't spending enough money on education. Oftentimes it's because of families not being able to afford girls to send to school. Sometimes it's because schools are just too far. There aren't enough schools in all villages where girls live or towns. And sometimes it's, girls lack transportation to go to school. The monies to pay for, even if they're able to go to school for free, because in some countries girls are able to go to school for free until a certain grade, but they might not have the money to pay for school supplies and things like that. So there are various reasons why girls don't go to school or complete their education. Sometimes it's because once girls get their period, they don't have a way to manage to keep going to school, things like that. A lot of times it's early marriage as well. Girls are married off earlier than when they finish their education. And so once they've been married off, it's really hard for them to continue their education, things like that. So those are things that keep girls from going to school. Those are the barriers that girls are facing. And then now on top of that, with 130 million girls already out of school with COVID, our research estimates that around 20 million more girls will not go back to school. And so it's really important to keep supporting girls' education. And I know that, with COVID, there's so many different crises in our world that we're facing, but it's important to not forget the girls who might not be able to go back to school as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. And I know that, Malala Fund is obviously helping with this cause. So what are some of the specifics that Malala Fund does to help girls with education?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, we really support the work that's already being done on the ground. So we try not to be this organization that just like sweeps in and thinks that we can solve problems in the world. We can't do that. We really have to support the people in the communities themselves who are working and solving the problems of their own communities, right? Like leaders in Pakistan, education leaders and advocates in Pakistan have the solutions to solving the problem of girls not being able to go back to school more than anybody else does. And so what we really do is fund and support and give grants to those advocates and organizations that are already doing the work. And so right now, because of COVID, we have increased our grant making to support more organizations and more advocates on the ground and supporting COVID-based projects. Some of them are like distance learning. In Nigeria, for example, we have 2 education advocates who started running like a radio school program after COVID because girls weren't able to go to school. And so they are providing lessons through radio that girls can listen into. Programs like that, a lot of long distance learning programs. In Pakistan, we are supporting Lala Rukh, an education advocate in Islamabad based in Pakistan, who she is doing like science experiments. So online, she teaches ways for girls and boys to do science experiments at home so they don't forget those skills. And encourages girls to continue pursuing STEM. So yeah, those are just some of the activities that we're supporting right now through COVID, but there are many more, and everyone can learn about them by going onto our website, malala.org.
Malala.org, everyone, you hear that? Malala.org. Just want to remind you, that's actually really cool, though. I hadn't heard about some of the STEM things and the more scientific element of that, which I love. I think it's important to educate, everyone in every aspect and give everybody the opportunity. So encouraging that for women is really, really wonderful. And so with Malala Fund, can you explain a bit about your role as digital manager and, how you help out and like what you do and
Yeah, definitely. So my role is digital communications manager. I sit on Malala Fund's communications team. So my team handles like communications for the organization as well as for Malala. And, that includes like sort of shaping what the brand of this organization is, what Malala's brand is, and really helping her hone that message, hone her messaging and branding, and really speak to young women around the world. So we do a lot of work around that. My role specifically in the communications team is to oversee all of our digital platforms. So I sort of strategize and lead on what kind of voice we have online, basically. So that's the kind of work I do. So I work on strategizing campaigns, whether that's fundraising campaigns or whether that's campaigns to engage young women around the world, or whether that's campaigns to engage, like advocacy campaigns to engage world leaders, things like that. So basically just overseeing all of our digital and social platforms.
That's awesome. And what kind of got you involved in that? Like, did you, with your background or specifically with Malala Fund?
So I was, in college, I was studying international development in my undergrad. And then for my master's, I did communications. So this was kind of the perfect blend of my education background to come into this field. But right out of college, you know how it is. It's really hard to just find a job. And so I was kind of like looking for anything that could come my way. But I was very lucky in that my position that I initially had at Malala Fund, which was social media associate, was out there when I was looking for a job, and I interviewed for it and was able to land the job, which was really great. And then after that, I've kind of just grown within the organization, and now I am digital communications manager. And I feel like it's something that really meets all of my passions. I, love branding and really strategizing digital presence for organizations. I think that's like such a fun and exciting job for me. And then it's also in girls' education, which is, obviously a topic that I really care about. I'm originally from Nepal, and girls' education and girls not being able to go to school is a problem in my country as well. And so, especially, literacy in general is really low, and so working towards this cause for me is, on a personal level as well, really important. So yeah, I really enjoy it, and it's something that has been a lot of fun and a lot of hard work, but also really exciting for the past almost 3 years now that I've been working here.
That's awesome. And I know that, like you say, it's hard work, but it's also fun. And I feel like the joy that you get out of putting in this kind of work, it makes it all worth it. Like working hard is not separate from enjoying your job. And so I think it's wonderful, the things you're able to do with them. And within that, I'm wondering if there's any, specific instances or stories that you have noticed have had a really powerful effect on you since you've been there. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, for sure. There are many stories, I think, but I can tell one about Kiara Nirgin. She's a young woman that we have worked with before. She was featured on Malala Fund's digital publication called Assembly. You can, go on to Assembly. It's assembly.malala.org, easy to find. And it's where we publish stories about young women. So it's our By Girls, For Girls digital publication and newsletter. So we've published tons of stories about girls, or stories or articles that girls themselves have written. And a lot of the stories we feature are girls who are interested in STEM or doing great things in STEM. And Kiara is one of them. When I met her, she was a student at Stanford. And wow. I met her because she was one of the first Google Science Fair Award winners. So she participated in Google Science Fair and won. And she had basically found a way to solve South Africa. She's South African. She had found a way to solve South Africa's drought problem using like orange peels and creating something from home.
Oh, wow.
You can obviously Google her and learn more about her. She's incredible. And so when we worked with her, we featured her on Assembly. We wrote an article about her. But since then, she's also gone on to write advice pieces on Assembly. She's gone on to do a lot of different types of work with us. But me specifically, I traveled to San Francisco to meet her. And we went to the Google headquarters, and we had asked our followers on Instagram to send her questions if they wanted to learn more about her, or if young women and girls around the world wanted to learn more about how to pursue a career in STEM, or how to, questions like, how do I convince my parents to let me study something in science, or any kind of questions like that. We got a lot of those kinds of questions, and she was able to answer them on video. So she kind of did an Instagram takeover for us. And that's been one of my favorite projects that I've worked on at Malala Fund. So yeah, that's definitely one of the stories that sticks with me.
Yeah, for sure. It's something I definitely want to look up now, because I'm really curious how orange peels can help with the drought. It's fascinating. So really cool that she went to Stanford, and just a lot of interesting things about that I will probably after this go Google her and learn more about it. So thank you for sharing that with us. I really appreciate speaking with you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you so much for all of the work that you do with Malala Fund.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and big thank you to all of your viewers and everyone that is gaming right now. We really appreciate it. And it's one of those things where it's two you would think are very different communities, but to be able to come together and fundraise for a cause like girls' education is really, really great. So really thank you to everybody who's viewing, everybody who's playing, and everybody who's donating. I really encourage you to donate and support this cause. Like I said, especially during COVID, it's really important that we don't forget our girls.
Yeah, of course. I completely agree. And thank you again for being here today. Appreciate it. Once again, this was Bhumika Regmi with Malala Fund. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And in the meantime, before we get going with our first run, we are going to give you all a little bit more information about Malala Fund with a nice video, and we'll be back shortly.
Hi, I am Malala Yousafzai, and I'm a girls' education activist. I know that for some of you, schools might not be open yet, while for some of you, they have reopened, but you are uncertain about going back to schools. But I want you to remember that nothing is more important for you than education, especially if you are a girl. Parents, teachers, and leaders, we know that 12 years of education for girls strengthens our families, communities, and countries. Please do everything you can to make sure all girls can re-enroll in school. Students, schools must be safe for you and your teachers. Remember to wear a mask, practice social distancing, and wash your hands to protect yourself and everyone around you. Whether your school is open or not, I hope you will do whatever you can to keep learning. Even though it may have been many months since you have been to school, don't lose hope and don't give up on your education. I know you have dreams and ambitions, and I believe you can make this world a better place. It all begins with education, so go back to your school as soon as it's safe.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you all enjoyed that wonderful information about Malala Fund and, learning more about where your donations are going and what it's supporting. Because women's education is so important and wonderful, and so it's awesome to be able to work with Malala Fund. While we are waiting to get our first run going, we'll read a few donations, and we're figuring out a few technical difficulties. So just bear with us, and we will be ready for you all very shortly. Hope you're all having a fantastic Monday, by the way. I think this is a great way to get the afternoon started. I mean, it's kind of mid afternoon, but we have a $25 donation from Gru Bain saying, Day 2, let's go. Agreed. We also have a $20 donation from Corey saying, This donation I give in honor of friends I met yesterday. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but your gift was greatly appreciated and I have to pass it on. Here's to paying it forward. We have a $25 donation from Crimson Kestrel saying, My wife and I love GDQ's events. We watch every one and always try to donate for a good cause. When we when we saw this event, we were excited for a focus on a group of speedrunners that is growing and bringing some fresh ideas and skills to the community. Plus, it was something to really look forward to in 2020. We're also happy to donate towards something that is so important. Can't wait to watch all the runs. Good luck to the runners. Not to mention a quick $3 anonymous donation that says gaming. Thank you all for your amazing support all week, yesterday, today. We appreciate it. Make sure to look up information on Malala Fund if you'd like to learn more. malalafund.org. We also have bonus games that are happening this week. Our first bonus game would be this evening. Let's see if we hit that goal. I am looking. I will get some more information on that in just a little bit for you all. But we do have our first bonus game this evening. So get those donations in for that. The bonus games this week are going to be cumulative based. So all of your donations, total donations, you don't have to put it toward the bonus game incentive. If we just hit certain amounts, we will be doing runs. Actually, I believe the first one is already met. Now that I'm thinking about it. We have a $25 donation from Valentran saying, very excited to watch this event during the week. Thanks to all the runners. We have a $100 donation from Hill Kitty saying, meow. I don't know how to meow that. I was wondering, should I have gone for realistic, or I'm not sure, but thank you so much for your donation. We have a $25 donation from Sorrowful Now with no comment, but thank you very much for your support. As well as a $25 donation from Teffy42, also with no comment. But thank you all very, very much. The donations are wonderful. Now that we have actually reached our goal for our first bonus game, don't forget when we hit a total of $10,000 in donations, bonus game 2 will unlock, and we will get to see a nice contrast of Knights of the Old Republic 2, any percent, after watching Knights of the Old Republic 1, any percent glitchless. So if you would like to see a follow-up for Knights of the Old Republic, now is the time to donate. We are very close. We are already almost at $8,900. $8,900. So if we can get $1,125, we'll be there. You'll get some more Knights of the Old Republic. Also, when we hit 15,000, bonus game 3 will unlock, and we'll get to see Mario Sunshine. Everybody likes Super Mario Sunshine, right? Alrighty, looks like we are ready to get our first game of the day started. We have Dark Souls coming up with Ashewyn. Best of luck to you, Ashewyn. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Ashewyn. I'm a Dark Souls speedrunner. It's my primary speed game. I don't really run anything else. That's all you kind of really need to know about me. I'm going to tell you something really interesting that happened last week. There was a new glitch found, a new wrong warp in Dark Souls any percent. It's kind of like changed the category altogether. And because of that, I just sort of switched routes that I was going to. Well, it's the same route. It just looks different. For this marathon in particular. So I'm really excited, guys, to bring you guys a run that hasn't been seen before in a marathon. So to get started here, since we didn't have a file incentive, I went with something that I'm comfy with, just a little Yoda file because I'm a big fan of Mandalorian. My sex is a female character, and that's actually important to this run because it allows us to do a glitch called a move swap, but it's still a variant of it, which requires us to be female. I went for the Pyromancer class because it has some key items which we're going to need for the wrong warp later on in the game. And the last important thing about the character creation that we need to set everything up is making sure that we take a master key. The master key is going to open some doors that are rather locked for us in this speedrun. So that's kind of why we set up this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the game with this character loadout, and I'm going to give a countdown on go. You guys can start the timer. So it's going to be 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Dark Souls. If you want to know a little bit of the lore, you start off as the undead, cursed character that we have right here, and you're sort of tasked to go through the world to restore the Age of Fire, which was something that your predecessor, Gwyn, did. You can either do that or let it all fall into chaos and ruin and instigate the Age of Darkness. We start off in the Asylum here. We're gonna have to escape to make our way through the game, but maybe I can tell you guys a little bit about the differences between the any percent category today from what it used to look like. So the normal game progression, if you're playing this game, would require you to have to ring 2 Bells of Awakening. And when you ring those 2 Bells of Awakening, you'll talk to Fram, who will tell you that you need to go collect the Lord Vessel from Orlando. However, in any percent, that's not the route that we generally take, and we don't do that because having to fight gargoyles and quelaag in this route is rather slow since we don't have any optimal weapons to take them down with. So we kind of go the reverse order. We go to Orlando, which is actually impossible in a casual playthrough. And then we go ring the Bells of Awakening. So the any percent category used to look like us having to do in Orlando, get the Lord Vessel, then ring the 2 bells, then have to go to the DLC past Artorias to pick up a crystal that helps us do a wrong warp, but that's no longer necessary. The run kind of stops at after Quelaag, so all we really need to do is pick up the Lord Vessel and then ring the 2 bells. Hopefully these hollows won't get in the way. And these halls can be a little bit pesky in the Asylum, so what I'm going to do here is actually heal really quickly because we're about to see our first boss, which I'm going to plunge at with this hand axe that I picked up in Asylum. And I'm going to circle around Asylum Demon here and get a few strikes on him with my axe, and then switch over. Oh no, well that's not good. He basically flew up when I didn't want him to fly up. That's okay. I'll try and take care of him with the hand axe. So because this route is a little bit new and it's a little bit different than what I'm used to normally doing, I'm a little bit rusty at having to fight Asylum Demon this way. Normally we would take the Thief class and we would take 5 fire bombs and we would toss it Asylum, but because I have sort of like switched routes as of Friday last week, I'm a tad bit rusty, but it should be okay. So first up, I'm gonna just do a quick heal here because we're in Firelink Shrine. We have to make our way through Undead Burg, and there's quite a mess of hollows that can be really aggressive, and I don't want them to kill me in this part of the run. So I'm just gonna do a quick heal, just maneuver my way around these hollows. And we're gonna be making our way towards Sun's Fortress, where we're gonna do a skip to get into an Orlando. But before that, we have to do a few things. We need to go to the Undead Merchant in the Burg, where we're gonna acquire a few key items that we need for our run. These items are going to be a rapier, a bow, a shield, and some arrows. And most of those items are going to be crucial for something called a move swap. That was the Hellkite Dragon. We're going to see him a bit in a second. And then the bow can both be used for the move swap and also baiting out some enemies like that Drake that just almost rampaged us on that bridge there. So this is the Undead Merchant. I'm going to pick up these essential items, and then we're going to make our way to Taurus. And Taurus, we're actually going to fight not with the items that we just procured, but we're going to fight with the axe that we have in hand. And to fight Taurus efficiently, we're going to pick up a buff on the way. It's a gold pine resin. It's a lightning buff, which Taurus is weak to. As you can see, Undead Burg has like just a whole bunch of hollows that literally are in your route trying to stop your progression, but in this chest right here, we'll get 3 gold pine resins, 1 which will be used for Taurus. Sure. Invite her on in.
All right.
Oh, hi, Chelsea.
Hey, how's it going?
Going great. We're already on our second boss here, so I'm just prepping here to apply my resin to my hand axe. I'm gonna tuck into a corner right here because there's archers behind us who are trying to kill us, and we just kind of like strafe to the right to just sort of like avoid their onslaught. And then
cool.
it's gonna lay siege on Taurus here. I did not path that properly, but that's okay.
No.
That's fine. We didn't die. We just took a little bit of a nasty hit. I was supposed to strafe his side attack there, but didn't manage to pull that off efficiently. So this is the Hellkite Bridge. He's going to try and roast us in a second here, but all we have to really do is, with proper stamina management, is just tuck into this alcove here, wait for the fire to dissipate, then head over here, shoot the Drake down with the short bow that we purchased earlier. Oh, that is very bad RNG. Okay, I think I was slightly too close to him, but that's not supposed to happen. I was not expecting this to sort of happen during my run, but that's okay. We do have an extra resin here, but I think it's probably because I'm a little bit too close to the Drake, so he's just gonna maneuver a little weirdly, but that's all we want to do. We want to use the hand axe with the resin to just quickly chop off his tail. 3 hits and we got him down. And, you know, just for safety, because this is a marathon, I'm gonna do a quick heal here. And then we're gonna make our way to the first skip in this game. And like I said, since we're not going to ring the Bells of Awakening first, we're going to go to an Orlando because that's where our primary like damage dealer weapon is sitting at. We are going to perform a skip called the Sen's Gate skip, and this is done by pulling up a glitched cam called a death cam. And in Dark Souls, a death cam is when you die, you have like an overhead cinematic cam that goes above you. However, in Bloodborne, it was discovered that you can actually enter the death cam state without actually dying. And so once that was found, the same was like replicated here, where we try and enter a death cam state. And in a death cam state is important because it doesn't load or deload any assets, and we're trying to get through Sen's Fortress without actually having to manually open it. And so by reposting this hollow here on this bridge, we'll enter this overhead cinematic death cam. It looks really strange on stream, but all it really does, like I said, is make sure that we're sort of running around the world while the game thinks that we're dead. And since we are thought to be dead, we can just sort of like run around without having to physically like access any of these like assets manually, like Sen's Gate. Because that generally opens up after we've rung the 2 bells and we've like spoke to Frampton. He'll tell us that we need to head to an Orlando on our next quest. Anyways, we sat at the bonfire there to level up to 12 decks because I like 12 decks in particular. Be able to use the rapier that we obtained earlier to sort of knock some pesky enemies out of the way. But we're running through the Sen's Gate here that you cannot see because of the overhead cam, but we're gonna just quit out to reset the death cam since we managed to walk through that gate without even opening it, and we find ourselves in Sen's Fortress. And that's the death cam skip. So now that we're in Sen's Fortress, it's a relatively easy place to run through in a speedrun because everything is sort of functioning on a cycle, like these pendulums that are swinging, boulders that will come crashing down, all sort of work on a specific timing. And because we know the cycle for them and we can like position ourselves to factor that in and perform some quit outs, we can just smoothly run through Sen's Fortress without having to worry at all. That's the first boulder, destroys that snake dude there. And another boulder coming up, which we will perform something called a quit out, like the one I did to reset the camera. And quit outs are really important in speedrunning this game in particular because it resets enemy aggro on you. It can reset the camera state. It resets some of these cycles here, like a boulder was just about to crush us down the stairway, but instead we just reset it with a quit out. And even things like in a boss fight, if you find yourself in a boss fight that just goes wrong, you can reset that boss fight by just quitting out, as long as you're not dead. I hesitated there for a moment. I shouldn't have. So when you're like speedrunning this game, an important thing to do, like what I did there, is just not hesitate, because hesitation can actually get you killed in a lot of these spots. You kind of just need to understand how stamina management works and how much stamina you have to work with and when you need to regen your stamina. But we're about to perform an important glitch in this category, and Prepare to Die edition in general, because this can't be done on the remastered versions of Dark Souls. It's called the move swap. The way that the move swap works in simple terms is we're transferring the moveset of our rapier onto another weapon, which is going to be the dragon sword in this instance. And the way that this works is that well, hold on, I'm messing it up because I'm just menuing a little bit too slow. All right, there we go. We have a bow that can only be equipped two-handed in our left hand. It's the only weapon in the game that can be equipped on our left hand two-handed. And what we do is we queue up an action and swap to another weapon in that action. The Drake Sword in this instance, which allows us to put the Drake Sword in our left hand two-handed, which is actually impossible. And because the bow doesn't have any running or rolling attacks, it has no information to put on the Drake Sword. So what it does is it draws data from our rapier on our right hands. Well, that's fantastic. I just got really great RNG for Iron Golem. What? That's not good. I think what happened there is I got really good RNG on Iron Golem. I actually set him up perfectly to do one thing. I was trying to stagger him in a particular position on the bridge to drop him off, because our Drake Sword just simply doesn't do enough damage to take him out the conventional way. However, because I think some of my hits hit wrong on his body, because where you position your Drake Sword hits really make a difference in this fight. And mine, I think, just fell in the wrong position. This is a really bad fight for me. I'm just gonna play it safe. I'm gonna bait him out here just so I can make sure that he's on the right spot on the bridge before I knock him off.
How about a donation for good boss luck?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, we have a $20 donation from Berto, who says, Ash, did you pick up the ring? Also, hi, best of luck. I'm proud of you and happy to see you on the other side of the screen.
Thank you, Berto. I appreciate it. Well, that really helped.
We've got plenty more whenever you want them.
Yeah, I will let you know in a minute when we
Sure
can make some
thing.
more donations. All right, so that was Iron Golem. Like I said, it's one of the hardest bosses in this route, just because it requires you to position yourself well, to hit Iron Golem in the right spots, to do it in a specific way, to manipulate his AI, to move in a specific manner. However, I think some of my hits just landed wrong there, which means he didn't stagger off when he wanted to, even though I had the best RNG possible. So we had to just go through it again and just make sure that we played it safe. I'm gonna rest on my first bonfire here. This is for safety purposes. I'm gonna level up to 18 endurance and 27 strength, because that's what's needed for the next weapon that we're gonna pick up, because we're gonna toss this Drake Sword. We're gonna get the Dragon Tooth. That's a primary weapon that we're going to be using in this route, and we're gonna be fighting the rest of the bosses with. But to get there, we need to go through an Orlando, and it can be a little bit of a weird and scary place because of something called the Painting Guardians on Raptors and Bat Demons. But I think this might be a good place to read some donations.
All right, sounds good. We have a $10 donation from Anon, who says, what would you call Gwen if he was an Ice Lord?
An Ice Lord? I'm not sure.
Penguin.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Well, okay, then on a more positive note, we have a $15 donation from Sir Blitz, who says, good luck, Ashewyn. Let's go.
Aw, thank you, Blitz. I appreciate that.
We have a $10 donation from Mars Worm, saying, let's go Dark Souls for education. That fits. It schooled me enough. Haha.
All right, that's great. Raptors actually behaved really well there. We can actually get time for one more donation.
Sure thing. We have a $50 donation from Carl Germ, He says, I'm so excited to see one of the best streamers of all time running Dark Souls at GDQ for such an amazing cause and event. Ash is such a supportive person, and I count myself lucky to be able to call her a friend. Go fast,
Aw,
Ash. Bully all these bosses.
Thank you, Carl. All right, so this coming up segment right here has these annoying bat demons that you'll see on the right. They fire lightning spears at you, which can be quite dangerous and can most often kill you if you're not paying attention to them. So I'm going to be quiet in a moment to pay attention to the audio cues. They let out like small little grunts that you kind of have to pay attention to, and then once you hear them, you'll have to strafe them. Okay, none there. Okay, that was one. And then this segment up here, we need to pay attention to the archers. Aw, he changed his mind. He was gonna give me a nice little melee attack. That was a bad roll. We're trying to basically bait him off building like that. We had bad RNG there. Generally, you're supposed to use the Drake Sword R2 to basically knock him off the ledge, but because I just don't feel comfortable with that right now, I'm just not gonna do it in a marathon. But that would have been the optimal way to sort of get him off the edge if he's just not giving you the RNG that you want. So we're gonna sit at this bonfire here. We're gonna need this later. And then we're gonna go pick up our weapon of choice, the Dragon Tooth. And this Dragon Tooth is concealed away behind an illusory wall that we're gonna find in this room past this night. And make sure that he doesn't hit me. And then the weapon will be behind this hearth. We'll head down here. And this weapon is going to really demonstrate how strong the move swap is. Because we get to transfer such a desirable move set, the rapier set, onto a massive weapon, we get the fast rapier attacks and R1s, which is what we want. Nice, I can barely dupe right now. All right, one more try. I think I'm being a little bit slow in my timing. Interesting. I think, what is happening right now? There we go. We were meant to do that the first time. That isn't as hard as I made it look, but we try and basically put the fast R1s of the rapier, the running attacks, onto a massive weapon like the Dragon Tooth, and Dragon Tooth has high damage, and we get to maintain that in the move swap, so that's what makes the move swap so desirable in the Prepared to Die edition of this game. So we're going to perform the move swap here. This is a variant of the move swap called a still move swap, because it requires you to be still, and it's actually a beginner-friendly version of the move swap that was recently discovered in the last year. So if you guys ever wanted to run this game and found the move swap glitch a little bit too difficult, that's the easier version of it. So up here we have one of our first scary bosses, Ornstein and Smo, and they're very RNG heavy, so I'm just gonna be quiet and try and pay attention to the RNG that they give me, and hopefully we can first try this. This is not what I would optimally want to do, like heal in this fight, but this fight is a little bit more scary when I have to think about it in terms of like a marathon setting, because I don't want to make a mistake that causes me to die, but it might end up that way because I'm playing it so cautiously, a little bit too cautiously to be honest, and yeah, a little bit risky. That's okay. Ornstein and Smo are difficult bosses because of the RNG involved in them, and I mishandled them in that fight. There were like openings that I could have like punished Ornstein and Smo, and there's like our move swap basically gives us the ability to back-to-back stagger them, As long as we find a nice opening and Smo is not on our heels, we can basically back-to-back stagger Ornstein until he's dead, and that's kind of how we want to bully the fight until we have to take on Smo individually, so... Hopefully we'll get better luck this time around. Or at least I'll make better decisions. We'll see. I'm gonna peel away here because sometimes Smo will basically shovel at me and I don't want that to happen. Oh, so Ornstein is sort of like glitching out on that fog wall there, which is not desirable. He starts like walking into a fog wall and his AI starts to glitch. Alright. Maybe we can... He's not being nice to me. Alright, gonna heal here just in case. And then we'll deal with Smo. But this is a really sloppy fight on my end. But that's okay as long as they go down. Alright, that's the fight. I think Smo demonstrated the power of Moosewap better than Ornstein did just because of how I fought that, but it's meant to be like an endless stagger that we kind of apply on them to sort of kill them as efficiently as possible. And because I think you guys made this incentive possible to spare Guinevere here, who's going to give us a Lord Vessel, I am not going to kill her in this route, which is generally something that we do because it's a little bit faster in the speedrun. We're just gonna end up talking to her, so I'll let you guys enjoy the dialogue as we have a conversation with Guinevere.
Thou hast journeyed far and overcome much, chosen undead. Come hither, child.
Now we just have to kneel.
O chosen undead, I am Guinevere, daughter of Lord Gwyn and Queen of Sunlight. Since the day Father his wounded obscureth, I have awaited thee. I bequeath the Lord Vessel to thee.
And that's the key item that we need in the run, the Lord Vessel.
Succeed, Lord Gwyn, and inheriteth the fire of our world. Thou shalt end this eternal twilight and avert further undead sacrifices.
And that is our quest. To succeed Gwyn. And now that we have our item, we can basically leave in Orlando. And now the sort of last portions of the run begin. But before we go there, we're gonna level up to 25 endurance because that's really comfy for me for fighting Gwyn. And then we're gonna warp to Firelink Shrine really quickly because we need this bonfire as our last rested spot before we finish up with gargoyles and then bone back. But now we can head over to Undead Parish. And this is where we go towards the first Bell of Awakening. So if you have one donation, we can go for that.
Can do. We have a $10 donation from Phenomenon, I guess you would say. Saying, yep. I know, my bad. Saying, so proud to see how far you've come over the years, my friend. Happy to see you using your skill and knowledge to support a good cause.
Thank you, Finn. Appreciate that. All right, so this room coming up, the Hollow Room, is notoriously a very scary one. And because it's scary, we're gonna basically set it up in a way that's a little bit safer than what we generally do in a run. I'm just gonna like stand here, hold out my shield, block these hollows, let this hollow move out of the door frame, and then just run on by. But this room is a little bit scary because these hollows have a habit of ganging up on you and sort of are wanting you to death. So we don't want that to happen, which is why I set up that room the way I did. But here we have gargoyles. They're gonna also fight with a move swap, and I'm going to show you just how strong the move swap is at this point in the game. Had we gotten any other weapon, this fight would have taken much longer, but I'll let the damage sort of illustrate why we take the route that we do. So that's the first gargoyle, the other one spawns, and that's gargoyles. Rather simple fight, but made simple by this fight, so. All right, up this tower is the Bell of Awakening, the first one. And then we'll have the second one after Quelaag. And then pretty much the run is over at that point. So like I said, any percent category just got insanely shorter by 7 to 8 minutes altogether from the previous route. Which is crazy if you think about it. Like, not every day is a glitch found in a game that shaves 7 to 8 minutes off of it. So we're gonna warp out here because we don't actually need our souls at this time. And we're gonna head towards Blighttown. But before we do that, we're going to head over here to Lotric really quick, because I'm gonna need something from him. But to get the thing that I need, I'm gonna have to kick him off the ledge. Pretty brutal, but he kind of deserves it, so. Kick him off, reload the game, because whatever he dropped will not spawn until we return. And quit outs are just a faster way to, like, push that timeline across, so. We'll head over now into New Londo and make our way towards Blighttown. And maybe what I can do now is like start explaining another sort of skip that we do. It's called Blighttown Plunge. It's a way to get through Blighttown much quicker than what is normally possible. I was supposed to send the elevator back up there, but I didn't. That's okay. Hopefully we won't fail it. So there's a really nice thing and exploit that we have in this game called fall damage cancel, where if we manage to drop off a cliff or a ledge and we go into a plunge animation of a certain speed, and as long as we're in that falling like plunge animation, we can roll out of it. And since rolls have iframes in this game, we can basically iframe damage upon fall, hence fall damage cancel. I'm gonna perform it here. I'm just gonna be quiet, set it up. All right, that was first roll. I cancel the damage there, and then we have another one. That's unfortunate. I miscalculated that. I thought I was gonna land on the right side of that pillar for the second plunge. However, I did not quit out in time, so we're gonna have to go back down, unfortunately. I did not expect to fail that second one, because the second one is generally a lot easier to land. So there's like two sides of that pillar. One, which can like land you where you don't want to be going, and then the other one which lands you into the swamps. And I sort of positioned that incorrectly, so we sort of fell like in the middle of the pillar rather than across it, because I didn't have the right roll momentum going. So we kind of fell to our death, but that's my fault. Like I said, quit outs are really powerful in this game, and if we find ourselves in a tricky position where we do have time to quit out before we die, we can basically save ourselves from a death, because the way that quit outs work in terms of falls in this game is that if, let's say, you're falling off a ledge and you quit out, the game will have to restore you to the last stable position that it has, and generally that's like the platform that you were last on. And that's how that works to our advantage. So had we like quit out in time there, we would have been like pulled back up to the platform. However, I did not do that, so hopefully better luck second time around. This might not work. Yep. I jumped a little bit too early there. I think we'll go for it one more time, and, you know, worst case scenario, if I can't pull off the plunge, probably because my nerves are slightly starting to kick in towards this point of the run, then we'll just perform something called a drop, but it should work. It's, there's like 3 different ways to get into Quelaag's domain. One is the Blighttown Plunge, which I was performing there. It looks easier than it actually is to do. It's not by far the hardest thing to pull off. And then there's a Blighttown Drop, which is a series of safe drops that you can do. to get you down to Blighttown easily. And the other alternative is something called a Blighttown skip, which is the most technical and complex of all, where you kind of go out of bounds and have to walk along a seam. But I personally haven't decided to want to learn that just yet because it's just a little bit difficult. Whenever I optimize my runs, perhaps then. Okay. I am not doing these rolls correctly. Well, good thing is that we saved that with a quit out. That means we didn't die, what I was supposed to do the first time around. All right. That's the correct plunge. That's how it was supposed to look like the first time around, so I hope you at least enjoyed it the third time around, but that's how we get through Blighttown as quickly as possible. All right. Dodge these fellas with rocks here, before we head off to Quelaag. And Quelaag, we're just gonna fight in a similar fashion like we did the other bosses by move swapping our weapon.
Got time for a donation?
Sure, go for one.
All right, we have a $50 donation from the Marksman, who says, loving this incredible Dark Souls run with great commentary. Let's go, Ashewyn.
Thank you, Marksman. All right, so this is Quelaag. Hopefully she gives me good RNG. Not what I wanted, but that's okay. Oh. That's unfortunate. I did not expect her to do that. If you want to go for some more donations, feel free.
I can definitely do that. I believe in you, though. Don't worry, you got this. Other people believe the same thing, like this $10 donation from HMIDOU. Is it Hemidu? Who says, go Ash! We are rooting for you.
Thank you.
We also have a $25 donation from Gamero Says, who says, it takes a lot of practice to make it look this effortless. Congrats on first try ONS. That's right. First try.
Thank you, Gamero. I wish I could make this look effortless. There's actually like a bunch of great speedrunners out there that make this look so good. But honestly, I just wanted to showcase sort of like the new glitch for you guys, the new wrong warp, which hopefully we will get to today, hopefully.
Would you like another donation?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. We have $25 from Singularity, who says, go fast, Ash! Don't forget to pick up your potatoes and molasses for extra speed, Winky face.
Thank you, Singularity.
And we have a $5 donation from Benny String Bean, who says, you got this, Ash! Yeehaw!
Thanks, Betty. So I figured that this might happen. I was like talking to a few friends before this run, and I was like, you know, there's a possibility that I might make a mistake and then just sort of like keep the mistakes coming. So I think maybe, you know, I haven't done the Blighttown and drop in a bit, so hopefully we can do that to sort of get to Blighttown a little bit easier and deal with Quelaag. I rolled too early on that plunge there. We were supposed to roll a little later, and I just happened to mess that up. But worst case, if we go a little bit overestimate, then what I can do is, not sure if I have a save for this, but no worries, we'll beat Quelaag. I was gonna make sure that at least what we could do is showcase the new warp and go to Gwyn. So I know that everyone in my community is gonna really hate me at this point, but I might do the Blighttown plunge again. I know everyone's gonna be like, don't do it, Ash. Don't do it.
No, I believe in you. I think you'll get it this first time.
Thanks. Thanks for believing in me, Chelsea.
Yeah. Hey,
We did
first
it.
time. First try.
If you want to go for a donation, feel free. I'll just pet Quailag meanwhile.
Can do. We have a $25 donation from Horatio Outside saying, first time watching GDQ or live speedrunning in general. Very happy to be a part of this. Well, welcome to the speedrunning community.
Yeah,
It's pretty great. Yeah, it's a pretty great place.
I agree. When things aren't going wrong. And when things are going wrong, because it can be quite entertaining too.
All interesting. It's all fascinating. We also have a $10 donation from Daver Boy saying, we've had honking memes. Limericks and Pokedex? Me? I like haikus. We have a $10 donation from the Big Patone saying, another great GDQ event and cause. Thank you to Malala Fund, the runners, and GDQ. Thank you for your donation.
Thank you. All right. Just in time because I just killed Quailag. I was not very confident about that fight at all, but it's over now, which is great. So now we head off to basically perform a wrong warp. And I'm going to use a homeward bone here because I'm going to need the souls. Because I need to buy 2 important items from a NPC called Petrus. That is, or Petrus in this Firelink Shrine area. I'm going to buy the miracle, the homeward miracle, and I'm going to buy a talisman, which I'm going to need to cast the miracle. But this new wrong warp that was found is called the homeward wrong warp. It used to be the purple coward's crystal wrong warp that we would need to get in the DLC. However, this one relies on something called a spell swap. Since we don't actually have the stats to use the homeward miracle, we're going to swap it out with another one. So we're going to basically be casting the fireball, and then as we're casting the fireball, we're also going to cast
Come again.
the homeward miracle, which is something that just warps us back to our last bonfire. And to set up this wrong warp, we basically need to go to the Firelink altar, which is here. I'm gonna just hit Frampt on our way down because he's a bit of a jerk. We're gonna sit here. I'm gonna attune the homeward spell that I just got. And since we're sitting and setting our coordinates here, it's really important and vital to this wrong warp. We're gonna head to the Firelink Shrine here. I'm gonna try and warp from the Firelink Shrine, and as we're warping away with the homeward spell, we're going to sit at the bonfire, the Firelink bonfire, and because we're doing that, we're sort of like giving the game another set of coordinates to think about, and because the game doesn't really know where to place us as we're like putting, as we're like warping from one area, sitting at a bonfire simultaneously, as we're moving to another bonfire, the game doesn't really know where to place us. And what it does is it puts us in a safe location, which happens to be the kiln, an area that belongs to the Firelink altar. I'm trying to perform the glitch right here. I'm trying to cast Fireball, and I'm trying to swap into my homeward. There it is. That's the homeward spell. We're gonna sit at the bonfire really rapidly, and while we interrupt that warp, we get teleported to the kiln. And that's how we skip going to the DLC altogether in any percent now. So normally we would have had to like kill like 4 bosses, collect the Lord souls, put them in the Lord vessel to get access to the kiln, but we managed to do that without even having to kill those bosses altogether. So kiln is a little bit of a scary place because there are some knights that can kill you. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen here. We're gonna like preemptively dodge this one. Oof. My heart just stopped there a little bit, no big deal. And then it's a home run towards Gwyn. So I like to think of this new like homeward wrong warp as like sort of like Dorothy in Kansas and wanting to go back home. So all we need is to click our heels, have a nice dog. But hopefully if all goes well, Gwyn will go down quickly. As long as I don't make any mistakes. But if if I do, you just get to see the homeward wrong warp again.
You want any donations for the fight?
Probably not. Maybe just want to focus on this fight.
Sure thing.
Thanks. All right, that's Quinn.
Oh my god.
Okay. We're gonna be coming up on time, so I'm gonna call it in a second. Okay. Time. That was Dark Souls.
Nice run. Every Dark Souls game, I swear, my heart is racing the whole time. Such a
Yeah, you
brutal
should.
game.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a brutal game. I would say more experienced runners have this like sort of like in the back of their hand, so they kind of run through it really quickly, and it just is all muscle memory kicking in. However, since this is my first marathon, there was a little bit of stress associated with this run, but I'm just really happy that I get to showcase a new any percent for you guys. It's honestly really like friendly to kind of get into. So if anyone wants to get into Dark Souls speedrunning, I would really recommend the Prepare to Die edition of the game because it has really cool glitches like the move swap that you just saw there, which enabled me to back-to-back stagger Gwyn until oblivion. I'm so glad that he didn't misbehave in that fight. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's out here, especially for my community supporting me. If you guys want to speedrun Dark Souls, honestly, there aren't enough women speedrunners in the Speed Souls community. That's the speedrun community for all Soulsborne games. So we would love to have you if you guys want to join, women or not. And I just kind of want to like say thank you to sort of like my mom for inspiring me and empowering me all my life to do everything that I always wanted to. And it kind of goes hand in hand with this Malala Fund that we are benefiting here at this event. Please inspire and empower the people in your lives, and if you can't do so directly, especially the women in your lives, donating to a cause like this really helps, I can tell you, because I come from one of these countries that really benefit from giving girls the tools to education so they can make decisions for themselves and feel empowered. So that's kind of all I really want to say. If you guys want to catch me for more speedruns, you can find me on my channel, and that's it for me. Thank you everyone for being here.
All right, that was a wonderful run. Congratulations again to Ashewyn for beating Dark Souls and doing it in a way that, regardless of you being nervous, I think it went great. I think it was awesome. So once again, great work. Before I let you all go for the day and pass you off, we're going to get in a few donations. We have a $10 donation from Maxine Valentine, who, well, we missed during the run, but said, "You got this, Ash, and all the others are cheering you on. You're smashing it." Very professional. We also have a $100 donation from Merm2, who says, "Thanks to the runners and organizers. This is a great cause, and here's a shout out to helping girls receive STEM education." Keep in mind, we are less than $700 away from unlocking our next bonus game. So everyone keep that in mind and get those donations in. We'll be right back. We are going to be playing a quick Twitch ad, and then I will see you all in a bit. going to be reading a last donation or two before I hand you off to our next wonderful host, Asoku Bun. But before I go, let's read a $10 donation from Middleman34, who wanted to read to Ash and said, "Awesome, wrong warp. This run has been really neat to watch. It took me days to beat this game, and seeing it beaten so quickly is mind-blowing." We also had a $25 donation from Prometheus saying, "GDQ time is haiku time. Strong women go fast. Education is for all. Ashwyn sure kicks butts." Well, thank you all so much for your support. And thank you for allowing me to join you today. I will be seeing you all for some more awesome interviews with wonderful Malala Fund employees and workers and all of that this week, and a little later on for some other things. So thank you all for being here with me, and enjoy the rest of the marathon and get those donations in. We are going to be heading to another video for Malala Fund, so you can learn more about that.
I don't think I'm a good advisor in this. I try to meet my deadlines, and in my first year, I was really good and I was quite punctual. But with the passage of time, it just goes down a bit because you try to have a bit more fun than you should be having. For me, if you want to have a good university life, it's important for you to divide your time into kind of three sections. So one is your sleeping time and your rest time, one is the study time, and then one is socializing and having fun. University life could be a bit overwhelming because you feel like you have to make friends, you have to socialize, you have to do so much work, you have essays. So don't be surprised if your first essay is literally like a fail, because that's the point. When you go, you are jumping from like school level to university level. So it's a good learning experience for you. In the first year, you soon realize that everybody is new and everybody's trying to make friends. So just go ahead, take a step and, say hi, talk to people. It takes time to build trust and it takes time to feel comfortable. But with time, you realize that you can find amazing friends. Okay, I don't want to sound mean, but I'm like completely okay on my own. I do miss like my mom's rice and chicken curry or lamb curry. When you like have university food for so long, you just eat whatever is there at house. For me, one of the best things in university was becoming more confident and finding friends and actually finding myself. I thought that I had lost myself a bit. When I went to university, I found amazing friends who just made me feel like I can actually express myself and I can actually be myself. I started feeling that, yes, I can connect to kind of the old Malala, which I was, like being funny, just doing, weird stuff, or like just saying whatever came to my mouth. Before I used to hesitate, but now I'm just so comfortable. Whoever is applying to university right now, I would say ask for help. Always do not hesitate to do that. Don't worry too much about whether you would get accepted or not, because you have tried your best. You have sent your application then. If you get in, if you don't get in, it wouldn't matter as much, because whichever university you go to, you will have fun and you will enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, share and comment. Here, where?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fleet Fatale supporting Malala Fund. I'm Zokuba and I'm going to be your host for the next few runs. Before we kick off our prize segment, we got a couple of donations here. We have a $10 donation from Sutterwind. First time watching live and donating. Good luck to everybody. Thank you very much. have a $50 donation from Pogman. No comment, but thank you so much for your support. And I'd just like to remind you all, we have some amazing prizes today. For our runs coming up, we've got, if you're excited for the Hades run coming later tonight, you're going to look forward to this prize segment. So stick around, and Scent, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fleet Fatales Online 2020. My name is Scent, and I am here today to tell you all about another amazing set of prizes that we have that you can win by donating, and hopefully to do it with an amazing new microphone that won't cut out on me. But you know what? We're going to find out together. It's going to be a fun adventure. We have so many absolutely great prizes to talk about. Now, first up here, from good friend and longtime supporter of GDQ events, Vats of Goop, we have this absolutely beautiful Zagreus acrylic charm. It is so great. It's only a $5 minimum donation. Let me actually get up real quick, hold it up to the camera a little bit, see if we can get it to focus on Zagreus's face there. There we go. It's a beautiful acrylic charm. Again, $5 minimum donation. I have been playing so much Hades lately. Love that game. Love this prize. It's super cool. But it's not the only super cool prize we have today. We have so many super cool prizes today. Now, from our good friend, Cute Monster Props, we have this absolutely lovely Sunlight Medallion. It's a metal-plated coin, basically a one-to-one replica of the Sunlight Medallion from Dark Souls. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't focus on it very well because it is very shiny and very nice. So you're going to have to head over to gamesdonequick.com, check out the tracker to see a great picture of it there. You can see it reflecting in the stage lights I have right now. It's a $10 minimum donation, and it is definitely worth it. And remember, those donations are going directly to Malala Fund. Those donations are going directly to an amazing cause. Now, also from Vats of Goop and for a $10 minimum donation, we have this beautiful Castlevania print here. We've got Alucard, we've got Dracula's Castle, we've got the Blood Moon in the background. It's super reminiscent of like the Castlevania animated series that was on Netflix. It's just so cool. It's a $10 minimum donation for the print. It's from Vats of Goop. Again, Vats of Goop, thank you so much for all of the amazing prints that you sent us for this event. And speaking of some of the amazing prints that Vats of Goop has sent us, for a $15 minimum donation, going back to Hades real quick, we have this absolutely stunning print of Ares, God of War from Hades, with a holographic finish on it. You can see it dancing in the camera right there. You can see Ares, you can see the wreath of swords. It's so cool. I absolutely love this print, but I can't win this print. Only you can win this print, and only you can win this print potentially by donating at least $15 today. Now, also for a $15 minimum donation, we have a couple of beautiful Resident Evil paintings from good friend and supporter of the stream for forever, Marlo Dobe. I keep pronouncing her name wrong, and I will always feel bad about it until I correct myself. You get not only this beautiful Leon print, but knock, knock, open up the door. You get Mr. X as well. Both of these are amazing, and keep in mind, these are paintings. When I saw these, I was like, wow, Marlo did some really beautiful marker work for us. No. If you look really closely, you can see the brush strokes. These are incredible. You should definitely head over to the tracker, check out a much closer up shot of them. I believe you can see the brush strokes on those. $15 minimum donation, but they come together as a set. Now, of course, last but not least, for a $25 minimum donation, we have this absolutely beautiful statue of Artorias, the Abyss Walker, objectively the best boss in Dark Souls 1. Let me bring it closer to the camera, rotate it a bit so you can all enjoy it. It's a $25 minimum donation, and it's just a wonderfully detailed PVC statue of Artorias, the Abyss Walker here. You can see all of the Abyss darkness consuming him, but despite that, he still tries to eradicate it. Again, absolutely beautiful. $25 minimum donation for Artorias. $25 today will get you into all of the prizes we talked about, but it'll get you into even more than that, because for a $100 donation cumulatively throughout the marathon, so that could be $25 today, $25 tomorrow, $25 the next day, $25 on Saturday, you'll be entered to win our grand prize. And our grand prize this event is super cool. It comes to us from Ryan56K. It is an alexandrite, a synthetic alexandrite with one of its faces cut into the shape of Triforce. Now, if you look over to the lamp here, I don't know why I needed to direct anyone's attention to the lamp. I feel like it should always be there. We can see a lovely video of the Triforce there. We can just see it rotating. You can see how shiny it is. It is super cool. I just wanted to answer a couple of questions I've had about the synthetic alexandrite Triforce because, you know, disclaimer, I'm not a geologist. I'm not a jeweler. I don't even have shiny Pokemon. I genuinely know nothing about shiny things. But Ryan has been amazing at answering any questions I've happened to have about this piece. So first off, I keep saying synthetic alexandrite. What does synthetic alexandrite mean? Well, unlike a natural alexandrite, which is of course made in the earth with the power of pressure and time, a synthetic alexandrite is just an alexandrite made in a laboratory by people. Structurally, it is perfectly identical to a natural alexandrite. But in this case, it actually has a bit of a different coloration. You can see under white lights here, it is this very nice deep blue color. But under an incandescent light, it'll actually shift to a much more pinkish red. Hopefully I'll be able to have a video to show you all that later this week. It looks super cool. And I asked Ryan, so why does that happen? And frankly, I expected the answer to just be, science. But apparently the different wavelengths in the light cause the electron to jump a ring or whatever, and that changes kind of the makeup of the gemstone. I'm explaining it poorly because, again, I am not a geologist. I'm barely a comedian. Anyway, thank you so much, Ryan, for sending this to us to use as a grand prize. It's so cool. Again, it's a $100 minimum donation, but that's cumulatively throughout the whole week. So you've got all week to donate $100 in total. Again, $25 today is going to get you into everything else I talked about. And as always, if you want to know anything about Fleet Fatales 2020 online, you should head over to gamesdonequick.com and check out the tracker, because that's going to be where you find all of the information on upcoming speedruns you can watch. And there are so many amazing speedruns happening this week, on upcoming incentives you can put your donations towards, because again, you don't have to donate specifically for the prizes. You just got to donate at least the minimum amount. And of course, all of the amazing prizes you can win by donating. That's going to be it for me. And stay tuned. There are so many great runs going on tonight. You don't want to miss any of them.
Amazing prizes as shown by Cent. I just want to announce that we have hit $10,000 thanks to all of your generosity. And thanks to that, we are now going to be able to see bonus game number 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 on Wednesday night. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. We're all going to hit our next bonus game incentive at $15,000. So keep those donations coming. And speaking of donations, we have a $500 donation from Opalessa. Love to all. Thank you so much for your generosity. I have a $25 donation from John Brawls. No comment. But your generosity is greatly appreciated.